Hello there, it's your friend Phil, Project Management Trainer and Coach. Today we're going to be talking about PMP exam result analysis. So you've been into the PMP exam, you've taken the test. At the end of the test, you discover if you passed or failed overall. Now, when you get out of that test center, you can take a look at how well you performed. First of all, take a look at the printout sheet that you've been given, and you'll see something like this, titled your exam result report. It shows you how well you did across the board. Do you need improvement? Are you below target? Are you right on target? Or are you above target? And I've had students that have had on target, above target. I've also seen students who fall below target. Now, the most important thing to do with this result is to dig deeper and analyze why you fell either below target or as needs improvement. And the way you do that is by going to the PMI website, pmi.org, and log in to your PMI account and look for the detailed understanding of your results. Now, this could happen a day or so after you take the PMP exam, but they'll make it available to you after the exam in pmi.org. So I'm going to show you right here in pmi.org. When you log into pmi.org, for example, I'm logged in. This is my account. If I go into certifications, I'll be able to see all the certifications I have. And I will also be able to see, as in this example, what my exam performance was on the PMP exam. So this is a sample that the PMI have out there, but if you go into your exam results, you can see your overall performance. You can also print out a PDF and take a look at how well you performed across the board. Now, the most important part of this is going even deeper into the exam breakdown. Going deeper into the exam breakdown, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, we begin to decompose our performance by process group. In this case, you can see the initiating process group is below target. You can mine and discover why you fell below target. We can see the different tasks, and for each task, a grade, low, right there in the middle, or high. So let me show you how you can tackle this information in better detail. You can see that across the board, PMI has broken down for this student, not only at this high level, but at lower levels. How well did you perform in initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, controlling, and closing? In this case, you can see the student was on target for 3 of the process groups. 1 process group fell below target, another one above target. And the overall score is looked at as being on target. So it is possible to pass the exam, even though you may have failed 1 or more of the areas. I've seen cases where people have fallen below target in more than 1 area and still pass the exam, but it really depends on how far below target you were in those areas. Take a look at this detailed breakdown, which is available to you after taking the exam on the page I just showed you. In this case, we can see this student has fallen lower than is needed to be classified as on target in task 1, task 5, 6, 7, and 8. What should this student do in this case? This is where the PMP exam content outline becomes very important. I have created videos about the PMP exam content outline. I will advise that you Google PMP exam content outline and download the PDF that comes up. And let me share that with you right now. So after you've downloaded the document, you'll be able to explore further what exactly that task is. So here's the PMP exam content outline. We were taking a look at the initiating process group, as you can see here. In initiating, task 1 and then 5 through 8 were poor. This student should go to the content outline and go straight to the page where we have the initiating process group and begin to look at task 1. What exactly was I tested on in task 1? Perform project assessment based on available information, lessons learned from previous projects and meetings with relevant stakeholders in order to support the evaluation of the feasibility of new products or services within the given assumptions and/or constraints. So this should immediately be a red flag for this student of things that needs to be read and understood in greater detail before the next attempt. The same thing for task 5. Participate in the development of the project charter by compiling and gathering information in order to ensure project stakeholders are in agreement on its elements. So what this should tell me as a student is I am weak in the develop project charter process, and not just that, I am weak in the understanding of the development of the project charter with the participation of stakeholders through the compilation and analyzing of information. Perhaps this student had no clue that certain information should be compiled and gathered by the PM, or at least the PM should be participating in task 5. So these tasks are extremely important because it is on these tasks that the exam questions are based. You might want to look for my video on the PMP exam content outline, because I advise every student to read the content outline, make sure you understand the concepts, and make sure you can apply the concepts. So for a student that did not do well on the exam across the board, my advice would be to dig into the process groups and begin to analyze task by task what you got wrong and why. You see, each of these tasks can be tied to a process in the PMBOK guide and an input, tool and technique, output, or overall discussion about that particular process. So for anyone who does not do well on any of these tasks, I would advise mining deeper to understand. Here's another example. Now in this example, this is all dummy data. In this one, we can see that the student, again, in planning, did not do well in tasks 4 all the way down to task 11. So if we look more critically, task 4 all the way down to task 11, the right thing to do would be to go to the content outline, go to planning, and take a look at task 4 through 11 and try to understand which process. Develop the project schedule. Oh, that's develop schedule based on the approved project deliverables and milestones, scope, and resource management plan. What are they talking about? Approved project deliverables? But at this point, the deliverable hasn't been created. Oh, they're talking about the approved plans. For that deliverable, the approved milestones, scope, and resource management plans. Do those really appear as an input to develop schedule? And if not, where is that information hiding? Perhaps this is implicit in the plan schedule management process. So I would need to read that to understand how that leads to the develop schedule process, and how all of this information about approved project deliverables and milestones, how does that weigh into developing the schedule? I need to understand that. Some people may get it like that, and other people may need to read deeper. in between the lines. It is absolutely important that you read in between the lines, because the exam could mix different knowledge areas, pose very difficult scenarios that sometimes you may not even know where you are. You could be in a requirements question and think you're in a scheduling question if you do not read the question properly. So my suggestion would be to take a look at your exam performance. Go through, how did I perform in executing? Oh, right down the middle. Right there. No wonder I got target. You see, I expect the student to go through monitoring and controlling, ask the same questions. Wow, I really did well in task 1. I did kind of okay in task 2 and 3. But task 4 and 5, what on earth happened? All the way down to 7. What about closing? Oh dear, closing was a nightmare. I did horribly in task 1 to 6. Why did I do horribly in task 1 to 6? Then you want to go to closing. You want to bring up closing. You want to mine deep and understand what happened. Again, it's going through painstakingly. Now, this is more so for people who fail the exam. You want to spend as much time strategizing how to do better in those areas that you didn't do well on. You also want to go to cross-cutting knowledge and skills and just read through and think about these skills that are being mentioned that you should have as a PM taking this exam. When you take a look at this content outline, what you do need to do is ask yourself, do I possess this skill? Can I carry out this task in the real world? And do I understand the mechanics of how this task actually works in the world of the PMI? You see what I'm saying? One of the areas that people do horribly in, really horribly in, is monitoring and controlling. It's notorious. If I were you, I would use a Control F function and look for all the places the word change appears. Develop the change management plan. Do you even know which process that is developed in? If you did not take a look at integration and develop project management plan and narrow down the fact that this plan is actually created there, this could throw you for a loop. Where else do we see change? Oh, defining how changes will be addressed. Where else do we see the word change? You see, those troublesome areas, folks, those are the ones you want to pinpoint, focus on, close the gaps, go through a painstaking process, reading page by page, word by word, in the PMBOK guide, in your study guide as well, to close these gaps. I hope that gave you an idea of how the PMP exam result is now shared with students. It's a lot more detailed than before, and there's a lot more work for the student to do to understand where they need to catch up. Okay? Now, before we close here, I'll just show you really quickly. The PMI have out here a page, an FAQ page, all about these exam changes. You might have passed the exam, maybe you're gearing up to take another PMI exam. This goes through the changes, what you can expect to see, when the changes will go into effect. On many exams, they've already gone into effect. You can see PMP was on the 28th of August, CAPM 22nd of August 2017, PMISP and ACP, as well as RMP happened earlier in the year. PGMP and all the others, you can see those happened a lot earlier. So actually the PMP was the last one to receive this new facelift, so to speak. So will the way the exam itself is scored change? It says no. How are the new performance rating categories different than the former proficiency levels? You know, the old version was proficient, moderately proficient, below proficient, and I've talked about those a lot, but now you can see that we've got above target, your performance exceeds minimum requirements, target, performance meets minimum requirements, below target, performance slightly below target and fails to meet minimum requirements, and needs improvement. This is one in which you are well below target and additional preparation is strongly recommended. What are the advantages? It says it helps students prepare to retake the test. For those who pass, it will help guide their professional development. So let's say you pass the exam, but you have needs improvement in an area. Well, part of your strategy as a PMP will be to dust those books, go back, study, or go for a course that will sensitize you to those tasks that you didn't do too well on. There's also some exam taker FAQs on this page. I would advise you go to that page right there. Take a look at these FAQs, and I hope that answers your questions. Remember, if you have additional questions that I could answer for you, do not hesitate to post them below this video. Thank you very much for your audience. If you have failed the exam, you can do it. Close those gaps and kill it on the next try.